Brian Kelly, met with the media just moments ago. And one of the things that has been tweeted and reported is something that we talked about last week, that the offensive line is essentially set aside from right guard. So Tyree Adams is going to play left tackle. And then you're going to see Paul Mabenga at left guard and DJ Chester at center. And then Miles Frazier is going to kick out to right tackle. At right guard, you'll see Bo Bordelon some. You'll also see Cohen Eccles. Now, I don't know if that's because they want to get a look at both of those players or if Bordelon's got to kick out and play some tight end and put a different jersey number on. I don't know. But I had heard that that was the indication. I talked about it in a segment that we did last week, and that is likely what you're going to see. This is the biggest question mark in this entire football game because Baylor's only really got 2 opt-outs, and one of them is really impactful. It's their nickel, who's a good player. But they're pretty much whole from the team that's rattled off 6 wins in a row. LSU is not whole. And I think that LSU, with a veteran quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier, can use Xavier Thomas and Aaron Anderson and Chris Hilton and Trey'Dez Green to throw the football. Like, I think that's enough good athletes to go play wide receiver and tight end to throw the ball. What I don't know is if that offensive line I just laid out for you can block. Now, if they were playing Texas A&M or Alabama or Ole Miss or South Carolina, I would already know this thing is cooked. Baylor has not been very good on defense. And it's surprising to me. It's probably surprising to you because I just assumed Dave Aranda can roll out of bed, pull out his 60 binders. I've seen his office, trust me, the one in Baton Rouge, and just put a good defense on the field. But that has not happened. They've gotten gashed a little bit at times this year. They've been middle of the pack in the Big 12 the majority of the season. Now, if Dave Aranda and this Baylor defensive front can whip LSU's reserve offensive line, and that's what this is, you got basically DJ Chester at center and everybody else is either new or moved. So if Baylor can wear out LSU's reserve offensive line, LSU's going to struggle. If LSU can protect Garrett Nussmeier and maybe open up some holes here and there, I think LSU can have some real success against Baylor, like a lot of teams this year have. What it feels like to me is, and we did this segment basically last week, but I just want to reiterate, a lot of people were traveling and whatnot last week if you got us locked in today. LSU is going to try to run the ball early in the game. That's easier for most offensive linemen and something they're more comfortable doing. And what LSU doesn't want to have happen is to get into a lot of 3rd and longs because you've thrown 2 incompletions or you've taken a sack. And all of a sudden now Baylor can get creative with blitzes and confuse new offensive linemen and get after Garrett Nussmeier. That's the method for Baylor. So LSU has to find a way early in downs to win up front. Keep in mind, LSU was number 1 in the SEC in 3rd down conversions this year. Number 1. They were the best in the league. Why? Because nobody in the league was as good at pass protection as LSU, and LSU was very, very efficient at getting the ball out and picking up first downs. There was a large chunk of the year where LSU didn't stretch the field very well. It was really after the Ole Miss game where they stretched it great. And that's been a bugaboo for this offense, but the short passing game has not. But that's because you're so good at protecting the passer. And I still think, it's funny. This is funny. Whenever I'm talking, I realize I'm talking to a large group of people, and sometimes without knowing who you are, I can see your faces in cars driving around. And when I say LSU it was great at protecting the passer, I can see a big portion of you rolling your eyes going, God, that offensive line was so overrated. This is so wrong. I promise you, they're not. I promise you, they're not. They were not good in run blocking, and they had never been good at run blocking in 2.5 years at LSU, and that didn't get a lot better. In pass pro, these guys were great. South Carolina has first-round picks on the edges. 2 sacks, that's it. Ole Miss, first-round picks. LSU dropped back to pass almost 60 times in that game, Garrett Nussmeier never got sacked. Texas A&M got dudes up front that are going to be high draft picks. Nick Scorton will go in the first round. They got to Nussmeier twice late in the game. In the first half, none. I didn't say they were perfect. They were very good. And that's what allowed LSU to be so good on third down. I can't, in good conscience, suggest that LSU in this game is going to be that efficient blocking up front and creating throwing lanes for Garrett Nussmeier. And oh, by the way, Kyron Lacey and Mason Taylor aren't going to be there for you. Neither is C.J. Daniels. So you have to make things easier on third down. You still got a good quarterback, a really good quarterback. But the most interesting piece to this game, without question, is how LSU's offensive line performs, especially on third downs. And the better position you put them in time over time over time will make them play better. And that comes from running the football. I'm not as concerned with LSU's defense as far as expectation goes. LSU's not going to put the clamps on Baylor. They're not. Sawyer Robinson's a good passer. He's a good player. He's very accurate. He doesn't run very much, but he's a good passer. They've got a couple running backs they'll get the football to that have had some success. And I expect Baylor to score somewhere in the neighborhood of 24 points. I'd be surprised if they scored 46. I'd be surprised if they scored 13. I think they're going to score somewhere in the mid-20s. Based on what they've been this year and based on what I expect LSU's defense to be. You really are getting basically LSU's starting defense, save a couple of guys. Sage Ryan won't be out there. Major Burns won't be out there. You're going to plug Toviano in. I think Deshaun Spears will play a little bit more. But you're basically getting the guys you've had. Shan's going to play. Pies is going to play. Savion Jones is going to play. Braden Swenson's going to play. Whit Weeks is going to play. Greg Penn will be out there. Zy Alexander's going to play. Ashton Stamps will be out there. Like, you've got the majority of what you've had on defense, and you're not preparing for anything new with Baylor because they got everybody on their offense. So I think based on statistics, based on what these groups have been, it's reasonable to project that Baylor will move the ball a little bit, that they'll score some points, that LSU will hold their own. And the variable in this game, in my opinion, comes down to, can LSU block a mediocre Baylor front? The answer is yes. You get yourself a pretty close football game. The answer is no. Garrett Nussmeier's running for his life, probably turns the ball over once or twice, and you probably lose a 27-17, 27-20 game. I think that's basically what you're looking at in the game tomorrow.
Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.